Hey there, Riverica here, reporting for duty on a trigger. Thank you so much for shuffling states of emergency into adoption spirit magic with me and steering clear of danger. Heartily, we are grateful. In this session, we are exploring Mercury moving into Gemini and Pluto retrograde moving into Capricorn, and how we may move forward rewriting our story in the highest love and light. But before that, some disclaimers. I am not a doctor, lawyer, therapist. I'm a fortune teller. So what I offer, Same Pure, my crow, my people. Pardon us. I had to say hello to the crow. He's saying hello to us, our family. Thank you so much, Source and Crow. So beautiful. So, what I offer is no substitute for a doctor, a lawyer, a therapist. And furthermore, what I share does not determine your future. Only your intentions and actions do. So please, use your gifts of discernment before deciding what to gather and take away from this reading. And of course, take only what resonates and blow like a kiss the rest back to the universe for cosmic composting into beauty. Into beauty. This reading is intended for fun and games, for shits and giggles, for entertainment, for flexing our mind, body, heart, soul, spirit, emotions, and intuition. And at the least, I hope to cause harm to none, and at the most, I hope I may assist you on your healing path. All that said, you see I have a bell here to help us clear the space and stream in grace. So thank you for assisting with this, helping hold the sacred space from where you are, and holding the intention of seeing only love, and only love we shall see. And here we go. Ready? Mind, body, speech, and perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May ears awaken from forgetfulness and transcend all anxiety and sorrow. Om. Peace. Shanti. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. So you see here we have 3 piles to choose from. And so this is pile 1 with the adventuring. And adventuring is for adventuring. But of course, you may have heard me say before, not of course, you may have heard me mention before how we are all different psychosocial science experiments, and what resonates for you may be different than me. So I invite you to check out on your own adventuring and see what jumps out at you, what resonates with you, to help this reading be more meaningful for you. So that's the adventuring on pile 1. And then we have the malachite on pile 2. And one word I might associate with this is protection. But so much more. Wisdom. It's such a beautiful, intriguing stone. So fascinating. So that's the malachite in pile 2. And then we have ruby zoisite. I think this is called. So quadruple check, please. On your own. It's a very magical stone, offering us that whimsy and magical feeling that anything is possible. There are limitless possibilities. But again, I invite you to quadruple check for yourself these different items to see what resonates with you, to help make this reading more meaningful. And so we are exploring how to rewrite our narrative in the highest love and light right now, right here, right now, where you are, whenever you're seeing this session. And assisting us with that is Mercury moving into Gemini, helping us with our communication and piecing together our new story, what's important to us, what we value, how we value ourselves, how we show up for ourselves, how we show up with the world on the day-to-day. And then we also have Pluto that's been retrograde and moving into not Capricorn, pardon me. Yes, no, that is correct, Capricorn. And so these influences are assisting us and checking out where we are and how we view ourselves and our place in the world and how we share that with others, how we communicate that with others. And so this reading may assist you in exploring that. Perhaps you're seeing this on June 11th when all of that astrology is in place, or over the next couple weeks as it's playing out, but it plays out even past that. So this reading is timeless for you. And so we're talking about, for example, the folk who have been coming out of the adoption fog or the gypsy myths or the patriarchy, and there's been a level of treatment that has left them recovering, abuse and neglect, people lashing out their grief, and that coming out as abuse and neglect. And there comes a point when you are on your healing path where that story changes. And instead of this person who has experienced abuse and neglect and coming forth with that foot forward, you come forward with another perspective on how these experiences have helped uncover your gifts and put you in the position that you are now to do the work of rebuilding a new earth, so beautiful, so joyful, so peaceful, in all the different ways that that plays out. And so we shall see what Callie has to share with us. The Callie Oracle, Alana Fairchild, created this deck, and it's illustrated by Jimmy Manton and published by Blue Angel Publishing. And so I invite you to check in and see which pile is calling to you, and maybe more than one pile is calling to you. And you can check in with any or all to see what may assist you in rewriting your story from this new healed perspective, stepping into this new space where you are reclaiming your power and living to your full potential, reclaiming your energy and power across time and space, and really, really coming into your power and owning yourself and moving forward in the highest love and light to help yourself, to help build a new earth. And so let's see. So pile one, let's start with you. Pile one. And we have the Devi Kali Ma. Devi Ma Kali, so sweet. The number 29, that too, reminding us of relationships, duality, how to establish a healthy relationship without giving away your power, how to establish a healthy relationship where you respect each other's boundaries, orphans and adoptees, people enduring the patriarchy, or different forms of racism, from romaphobia to all the different ways that plays out, to discrimination for gender, sexuality, religion. How do you have a healthy relationship? So the 2 is reminding us about that and how that is possible for us. And that 9 is reminding us, yes, we can erase that quote-unquote evil where people have been so grief-struck by loss that they lash out. We can heal that. We can heal that. Pardon me. So that's super sweet. So 29 adds up to 11, which is a master number. And that reminds us that we are healing from these victim issues that caused our boundary issues in the first place, and overcoming our own personal mythology and really stepping into our power. So I invite you to explore more of that numerology to see how that's working with you. Super sweet. And Devi Ma Kali, let's see what Devi Ma Kali has to say for pile number 1. 29. So there's 3 parts to this, so I invite you to settle in, and you can come back to it at any time because it is that deep. So 29. Devi Ma Kali. Endlessly loving, infinitely forgiving, she will never turn away from you. No matter what you have done, no matter how many mistakes you have made, she is here for you, always. Feel the safety and sanctuary of her divine hugs. She is your soft place to fall, and your kindest and most enthusiastic advocate. Let her shift your experience away from endless tasks and ever greater expectations into sweet relief and comforting connection. So super sweet. Jumping out at me was all the times that in the adoption fog, living in that adoption fog, it seemed I made mistake after mistake after mistake. I wasn't living up to this adoption fairy tale that people around me were, and that caused me to constantly be the mistake maker and on the outside, and that plays out in the patriarchy, or perhaps confronting, dismantling the gypsy myths. That plays out in so many different ways across fields and cultures. It's not just the orphan and adoptee. So Devi Ma Kali is helping us, reminding us, you're forgiven. The ways that you perhaps acted out in those moments, in those circumstances where the relationship was inequitable, and you're forgiven, and you can release that guilt and shame and just return to that innocence, stream in that innocence, that like this baby, so super sweet. And just connect with the Devi Ma Kali. So the second part, here we go. There are times we just need our mother. This is natural and necessary. However, for whatever reason, we may not be able to turn to the mother figure in our lives in our times of need. There is no need to feel deprived during such moments, for we have a divine mother who wants to help and has the endless resourcefulness to do so. The problem of receiving grace is never with the source of it. By its nature, grace flows with generosity. So needing to earn or deserve it goes against the very nature of grace itself. However, we can struggle to be open to it and have a subconscious resistance to receiving. Intellectually, we may know that we are worthy of being helped, and even that others will also benefit when we are flourishing, so that grace brings multiple benefits to all. Yet, can we still be more attached to the difficulty than the resolution? Why is that? We cannot underestimate the influence of belief systems created in response to childhood trauma and the impact these unchecked beliefs can have in our adult lives. The beauty that Kali will not only help us identify where we have our blocks, she will also help liberate the soul by providing us with a choice. We can allow her to consume those past traumas, relieving the soul of karmic burdens. That's so beautiful, and it's reminding me of the readings coming out about turning obstacles into building blocks. You may enjoy those as well to help support you on your path. Devi Ma Kali's grace is not about encouraging psychological regression or giving up the necessary learning and responsibility to grow. It is a recognition that there are times when even a mature adult just needs to feel loved, held, and appreciated, cherished, and adored. Not for the sake of boosting ego, but for replenishing the heart that wants to give and give and give. It is about withdrawing from the distractions and the battles for a time, not to escape from what you need to do, but to have the energy and clarity of mind to approach your life journey effectively. Regression is avoidance, whereas reconnecting with the childlike relationship to the divine replenishes the inner reserves so one can continue, change approach, and gain supportive allies so that success can unfold more graciously and swiftly. The devotee of Kali Ma and Hindu saint Sri Ramakrishna taught that when a tree is young, it should be fenced all around, lest it is destroyed by cattle. What does that mean for us? Positive qualities, such as healthy self-esteem, can be burgeoning within us, even when we are not fully aware of the extent of positive change that comes from the subtle inner shifts of the mind, heart, and soul. Significant healing shifts often take place beneath conscious awareness. This is good. It prevents the sabotaging aspect of the mind from killing off that fledgling quality before it is strong enough to stand up to the patterns of the past and assert itself, rather than, for example, being trampled by overly critical and shaming voices. The protection of the young tree is a symbol for taking care of that which is vulnerable until it becomes strong enough to stand on its own and fulfill its destiny. This is what a mother is meant to do for her child, and what Kali Ma Devi does for all her children, if they will come to her. There is something good growing within you. Don't let clumsy or ill-wishing energies around or within you get anywhere near it. Let Kali Ma protect you from within and without. This particular form of Kali is without the association of battles and war with which she is more commonly connected. Instead, she is the Divine Mother holding your being in her arms in a quiet and peaceful nursery of the soul, rocking you back and forth with a gently sweet lullaby on her lips. The Hindu scriptures teach that when Shiva drank the poison that threatened to consume and destroy the world, he became sick with the pain of it, and so transformed himself into a baby, feeding at Ma Kali's breast. Her milk soothed the poison, taking away the pain. If you have been taking on energies from others, perhaps unintentionally or even intentionally, in an attempt to alleviate their suffering, then the message is that Kali is providing you with relief and healing now. When you have so much going on that it all feels like too much, permit yourself to seek her out and be comforted, held, and reassured. It is natural for a child to need and reach for its mother. You are deserving of comfort. Allow yourself to experience it without reservation. How super sweet. And especially for orphans and adoptees, especially if you have been taking on the energies of others, this Devi Ma Kali is reminding that happens so often with orphans and adoptees, taking on the relationship of others, their birth mothers and birth fathers and birth families, finding themselves in circumstances where instead of them making the sacrifice, the baby sacrifices. And with the adoptive families or foster families taking those children in, it's often about the parents that are adopting, the loss that caused them to want to adopt, and how to heal that, than about the orphan or adoptee being adopted and the losses that they have overcome. They can go together. It could be a beautiful symphony if we let it, if we choose. But so often, adoption has been looked at as a way to just bypass that loss, and it has been proven ineffective. It hasn't yet stopped people from being left behind, scapegoated and trashed. And so this Kali Ma is recognizing this Devi Ma Kali is recognizing this, all these times that we've taken on others' energies to assist them. Like, we understand our birth mothers and birth fathers and birth families were in these positions that left them with the choice to relinquish us. It wasn't even a choice. It was like they were undergoing so much loss and trauma. It was a result of that. And we understand as well the adoptive families that have adopted us and taken us in, and adoptive communities that have taken us in are also looking to heal and overcome a loss. And so Devi Ma Kali is helping nurture us for all those times where we've put ourselves in front of other people to help the other people in our lives, whether it be families, friends, strangers, and to help you take back your power in a beautiful, nourishing, tender, sweet way. So super sweet, so super sweet. Know you are held and loved, and that you are seen, and what you have gone through to step out of the adoption fairy tales, fogs, the gypsy myths, the racism, the patriarchy, whatever it is that you have been dismantling. Kali has you covered, and you can rest in her and find that nourishing and strength again and recover what you have lost in a whole new way. Pardon me. So beautiful. So there's an invocation ritual. Imagine, visualize, or intend that you are a beautiful, precious child. If you did not have a positive experience of being loved, accepted, and enjoyed for who you were as a child in a safe and respectful environment, then you may like to intend to open up to a new experience of unconditional love, protection, and safety for the child within you now. You may even like to imagine, feel, or visualize that you are being cuddled or rocked gently by the Divine Mother, hugging yourself and making soothing sounds as you softly rock back and forth. If this is confronting, be kind. Being really loved can take some getting used to if it is unfamiliar to you. Love can bring up some shock, anger, or grief before it brings peace. There is a tremendous freedom that arises in feeling such feelings and letting them go. In this process, you have the safety to feel whatever you wish, allowing it to be compassionately witnessed by the Divine Mother. That's so super sweet, bringing up that point, and how if we haven't experienced that love, it may be challenging for us to accept it and how to work through that. And thank you, Kelly, for offering these steps about how to move through that and transform that. So super sweet. If you wish to talk with your Divine Mother, do so now. Just tell her what's on your mind and what you need. Listen for her response by tuning into your heart, and know that her answers show up in the best possible timing and the best possible way. When you are ready, complete your process by saying this prayer of invocation. Supreme Mother of the Universe, I am in your hands. My body, mind, and soul seek refuge in you, and are now fed by your nectar, which alleviates poisons and brings strength, wisdom, and peace. I settle into your presence. You and I are bonded in divine love, a bond which can never be broken. May your comfort arise in my heart now, reaching through all dimensions for the spiritual benefit of all beings. Jai Ma Kali. Complete your process with your hands in prayer at your heart and bowing your head. So super sweet, Pawan. So super sweet. So Devi Ma Kali is reminding us that during this time, as Mercury moves into Gemini and Pluto retrograde moves into Capricorn, Devi Ma Kali is reminding us, hey, I'm here for you. Let me hold you. Let me nourish you. Prepare you for your next steps. I get you, even if nobody else does. I'll listen. I hear you. I'll hold you. So super sweet. So super sweet. So thank you so much, Pawan, for being so brave and so strong and daring to ask for help, and also being there to sit with yourself and see how that feels. See how it feels to receive, and just really honoring yourself and creating that sacred space for yourself. to just regain your strength and to nourish yourself. So super sweet. Thank you so much, Pile 1. And that is all I am seeing for you in this reading about how you may be assisted in rewriting your narrative and what Pluto moving retrograde into Capricorn has to share with you, as well as Mercury moving into Gemini. And for more, you can delve into those signs and aspects to help this reading integrate in even more meaningful ways for you. But until next time, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for helping us breathe life into adoption spirit magic. Until next time, ciao for now. I love you all. Hey, Pile 2. So let's see what Kelly has to share with us about how we may move forward, minding our business, rewriting our narrative and the highest love and light. How Mercury moving into Gemini and Pluto retrograde moving into Capricorn is also informing us about how we may put ourselves back together again. And what an interesting image, right? Talking about rewriting a narrative. How do you rewrite that in a way that honors all involved? So let's see what Gina Masta has to say. And the number is 20. So beautiful. That number 2, such a divine number. Success in everything you do, partnered with divine. And then it's that number of relationships, establishing healthy relationships. Such a thing with orphans and adoptees who have been put in a place where the relationship was not so equitable. Other people's needs were put in front of theirs, from the birth families to the adoptive families to the foster families to the state to the nation. And so 2 is reminding us how we can learn how to establish a healthy relationship where we share power with a partner. Such a beautiful thing. It also reminds us of the dualities, perhaps the yin and the yang. And as I say that, I'm drawn into these 2 aspects, the third eye and the crown chakra, still glowing, even though Gina Masta's head has been separated from the body. I also invite you to check out more on your own, that numerology. The 0 is representing a completion, just coming full circle, starting over again, perhaps. But check out for yourself, because we're all different psychosocial science experiments, and what resonates for you may be different than me. And so I enjoy inviting you to explore more to help make this reading more meaningful for you. So let's see what Gina Masta has to share about how we may move forward rewriting our story in the highest love and light, even when something like this has happened. Sacred severance is her radical grace. She is our soul's power to shed and survive, to outgrow and evolve. When the soul needs to separate itself from that on which it once relied, be it a view of ourselves or the world or a group or belief system that cannot support the truths of the heart, she is the capacity, sovereignty, and courage required for self-liberation. Systems of oppression within your mind and your world will be overcome. You have the power to sever your attachment to the past and focus on inner regeneration and reorientation, healing into a path that is worthy of your heart. Wow, so relevant, especially for all of those working on dismantling from different angles, whether you're coming out of the adoption fog and fairy tales or the gypsy myths, or dismantling the romaphobia, the antigypsyism, the race-ism, the patriarchy, all the ways that dismantling plays out. This spoke right to it. Right to it. And Gina Masta is there to assist you moving forward in the new way. She's there to help you liberate from these past ways. And it's reminding me of a little bit of Pile 1. You may be interested in Pile 1's reading if you were drawn to it. That may be interesting to you as well, because like how, pardon me, how do you move forward? It's so challenging when so many people in your circles are living a totally different way of life, still in the adoption fairy tales and fog, or still in the gypsy myth, or still in the romaphobia, or still in the race-ism, and just not even realizing it, just grief-struck by loss and just not realizing it, and not understanding steps to take to heal that loss. So Chinamasta is helping with all of that. And I'm also reminded that detachment is super important for healing. It's one of the 3 rules when we talk about indigenous healing. There's simple rules to follow. Love in your heart, a desire to help, and non-attachment. To be non-attached to the outcomes. And so Chinamasta is also helping us learn how to do that in a way that isn't cutting off your nose to spite your face, right? And let's see what else Chinamasta has to tell us. The 5th of the Mahavidya wisdom goddesses is a most shocking form of Kali, Chinamasta. She is the divine feminine avatar, self-decapitated and partaking of the blood that emerges from her throat. The name Chinamasta translates as beheaded. She signifies a powerful activation of the spiritual path through the confrontation of oppressive behaviors, self-limiting attitudes, and intellectual dominance of intuition. The head is the symbol of the known, of thinking, of forms of authority. It is the head that wears the crown, the sign of status and power. Unrestrained by authority, she is able to overpower it. For our human selves, the head is the locus of control, so during a Chinamasta initiation, you will not understand what is happening, and you won't know how everything is going to turn out. This is as it is meant to be, and not something you need to worry about or fight against. Chinamasta is potent medicine for liberation. Her graphic iconography differentiates her from other forms of Kali that wear her favorite accoutrements of severed heads and skull garlands. Chinamasta's severance is of her own head. This represents self-liberation. We do not need to wait for another to intervene. She shows the way to save ourselves, to move from inner courage and inner wisdom. Her presence can indicate a time when you must trust yourself completely without external support systems to rely on. The beliefs and constructs that once supported you will no longer be able to do so. Success cannot come from the tried and true paths of the past. You are evolving beyond that. It is time to rest in the void and allow for a very new way to emerge. Despite the inherent violence in the image, Chinamasta is not dead. Blood is flowing. She is very much alive. No matter how severe the challenges you are encountering, no matter what you let go of which you once identified with or cherished, your life shall continue. You, the real you, which is not what you thought you were, is breaking free into more life, not less. Sometimes the old systems have to fall for the new order to be established. Things will never be the same because your real self is powerful enough to shed the false layers and radiate its inner beauty and wisdom more freely. Her partaking of blood symbolizes the capacity to be nourished and fed by change rather than devastated or destroyed by them. It is reassurance that at a deeper level you are gaining something from the chaos and deconstruction in your being and your life. As you continue to move through the process of change, you will gain energy for something new. Chinamasta is self-nourishing through the spiritually conscious application of destructive energy. Chinamasta shows us that transformation is not about trying to change ourselves. It is about tackling our views, our fixed identities, our attachments to power and status. Even if a situation is causing us pain, it appears to be under the control of another person. Chinnamasta initiates us into using our spiritual power to free ourselves. Her teaching is that we have the means to become free within us. We do not need to control outer circumstances or people. Within us is the energy we need to continue our path. We can draw what we need from within. Chinnamasta leads us into deeper terrain where we can release tendencies to self-sabotage through ignoring our own intuition, truth, and needs. We have the power to get out of our own way. So intense, so intense. You know, as I was reading that, it was occurring to me that before we come out of the adoption fog or the gypsy myths or the romaphobia or the antigypsyism or the race-ism or the patriarchy, before we come out of those, many of us realize, wow, we are a part of that. We were born and raised in that, and how to dance away and create a new earth that isn't that. And so we have to let go of our old head. And what a beautiful reminder of that honoring that process of what it takes to dismantle old earth and rebuild a new earth in a totally different way. We've totally changed our heads. And so, Pile 2, thank you for being so brave and so courageous to begin again, to take off your old head and to put on your new head, and for being so persistent and patient for that to play out over the days, weeks, years, decades, lifetimes, right? It's a whole process, this evolution. And thank you for being so brave. So the last part is an invocation ritual. Say the following prayer aloud. Chinnamasta, self-decapitating one, fearless freedom and honoring of the truth is your way. You gift me with protection through the necessary endings I initiate based on the truth of my heart. You guide me to draw from upon the power within to fuel the necessary healing. Under your protection, I shall come back to life in a new way. With your unflinching honesty and unwavering courage, I am filled with inspiration and readiness. My blood is rich, flowing, and desirous of new life. I embrace the path before me, letting go of what I have known myself to be. I place myself within the beauty of your wild and unconditional wisdom. I trust in the new destinies now ready to unfold for the spiritual benefit of all beings. Jai Ma Chinnamasta, Jai Ma Kali. Gently place your hands on your head for a moment and then say, through the wisdom and grace of Kali Chinnamasta, I release all attachments and conditioning that no longer serves. Flick your hands away from your head as if flicking off the shreds of bondage that no longer serve your awakening. Repeat that movement as many times as you like. Allow it to feel good, relaxing and releasing for your head. Repeat this action again, but at your throat, and then finally at your heart. And this isn't there, but I want to share it as well, that you may also envision streaming grace to replace after you are done with each of those actions. And then when you are ready, end with your hands in prayer. You have completed the ritual. Wow, Pile 2, so tremendous what you have done to own your heart. And thank you for having such a noble heart. You may be interested in the Bodhisattva to further enhance your practice and help you embrace your new way of life. And thank you so much. Heartily, we are so grateful. Thank you for helping us breathe life into adoption spirit magic. Until next time, ciao for now. We love you all. Hey there, Pile 3. Woohoo! Let's see what may help us in rewriting our story with everything we have learned and where we are now. Pardon me. and Mercury moving into Gemini, and Pluto retrograde moving into, that's right, Capricorn. And we have the Kali Tantrika. I'm just appreciating like the similar colors with the green. Do you see the green and the pink there? And I'm not sure. I have my glasses on, but that's so interesting to me. And everything that lotus symbolizes. And it's just reminding me to remind you, check on that Ruby Zoisite. See how it's resonating with you. Some people call it the fairy stone, I think. So 35, Kalika Tantrika, is helping us rewrite our story with everything we know now, stepping into our power. And let's see what she has to say. Our wild mother goddess overcomes duality, resting in the sweet spot of integration, healing, and creativity. She facilitates the overcoming of tension and conflict, birthing sacred solutions and evolution into greater bliss. Kalika Tantrika is Kali, the tantric queen. She overcomes all karma, realigns pathways when we have veered off course, reverses the momentum of negative uses of free will, and detaches draining energy cords, restoring us to full vitality. Her presence announces significant change and positive improvement in all aspects of your life, especially your spiritual life. How super sweet, Pile 3. You are in a sweet spot of integration, healing, and creativity, helping you rewrite your story from this empowered place to from this position of sacred solutions and greater bliss, instead of this feeling of battle and despair and oppression. So super sweet. So let's see what else Kali has to say. The Tantra of Kali is the teaching of the eminence of the goddess. Her appearance in a reading indicates a time when the feminine principle must be in the dominant position. This is not a declaration that the feminine is superior. It is equal to the masculine, yet different. It is a recognition that the feminine is holding and birthing energy. To shift from one way, paradigm, or political structure, the feminine must lead. As Kali, she disrupts negative power structures and holds the space for something completely new to emerge from the rubble. The simplest way to describe the eminence of the goddess is that it's the deep respect for intuitive knowing and action, taking on the non-rational yet deeply insightful instincts of the heart. This is not about being emotionally reactive. There are multiple expressions of this sacred tantric inversion, placing the sacred feminine in the leadership position and deconstructing patriarchy. We practice it when listening to our intuition with complete courage, rather than going against our inner knowing for the sake of logic. That just reminds me, like, how often adoptees go against their inner knowing for the sake of logic. Like, we keep getting told adoption's for the best, but in our heart of hearts, we know it's not. And that might be one example, aside from the patriarchy, that plays out, that you may relate to on a very intimate level. So we practice it when listening. Let me go back a little bit. This is not about being emotionally reactive. There are multiple expressions of the sacred tantric inversion, placing the sacred feminine in the leadership position and deconstructing patriarchy. We practice it when listening to our intuition with complete courage, rather than going against our inner knowing for the sake of logic. Another is reversing the flow of what has been generated. This may mean halting a path you wanted to travel, but have now come to realize it is not honoring of your heart. How many adoptees feel me right there? Like, you wanted to travel it, but then you realize it's not honoring your heart. And it could be different if others were approaching adoption differently and not using it as a prescription to overcome their loss before that of the orphan that they're adopting. And take that as it resonates. There's all sorts of ways that plays out. So this may mean halting a path you wanted to travel, but have now come to realize it is not honoring of your heart. It could be a breaking down of what has been established because it has become too restrictive and needs to be rebuilt in a new way, or perhaps released altogether. Yes, that adoption fairy tale, the gypsy myths, the romaphobia, the antigypsyism, the racism, the patriarchy. Yes, yes, it's recalling all of that for me right now. Remember that which appealed to the caterpillar is not going to tempt the butterfly. As the soul evolves, our needs and desires often undergo a profound transformation too. What a sweet reminder. So, just reminding us to rest in our process and know that that shift happens, and we can look forward to a whole new way of life, and we already are creating a whole new life, so many of us. Super sweet. Tantric teachings resonate less with clean, tidy, and methodical approaches, and more with wild, spontaneous, shamanic energies, innately tuned to and responsive to life. The primal force of the feminine is moving you along your soul journey at present. To tune into that primal power requires loosening the mental grip over your life. Allow for more space, more flexibility. If your schedule is so tightly wound that every minute is accounted for, set the intention to slacken the reins. The feminine needs freedom. She cannot be crammed into minimal spaces and expected to thrive. If you try to control her, she will rebel, and when she is Kali, her rebellions topple kingdoms. It is possible to heal and transform, even radically, without evoking her wrathful nature, if you are open to her guiding presence. Her wrath is love, so we need not fear it. But it can certainly be a welcome change of pace for powerful shifts to be able to happen with grace and ease. For sure. When Kali Tantrika arises in your reading, you are encouraged to listen to your gut and allow for wisdom to emerge. It was just reminding me that wrath is love, her wrath is love, and how in my house of birth, that wrath is what got me and my birth mother kicked out of the house. And then in my adoptive family, the same thing. That wrath is what caused me to be disowned. And in my in-law family as well, that wrath. And it's just that grief struck by loss. And so that's a little different than what this Kali, her wrath is love. So we need not fear it. And so I wanted to take the time to separate those two, how they're different. So when the Kali Tantrika arises in your reading, you are encouraged to listen to your gut and allow for wisdom to emerge. So I just shared that. Act according to instinct and let go of methods that do not resonate with your heart. Even if your mind tells you that not following those methods will lead to failure. The Tantra of Kali is the practice of unconditional trust in the feminine. Her ways are unpredictable, apparently ever-changing, and when she manifests as Kali, if you try to pin her down and control her, she's likely to lop off the offending appendage. Instead, we submit to her, entering into the black void of possibilities and not knowing, with the realization that even when we don't know what is going on, the divine feminine does. If we willingly open to her sacred knowledge rather than try to impose our will and logic and desire upon her, she will show us what is going to work best. This is a time when the heart knowing must lead above the intellectual assessment of things. It is also when we are best moved by a greater guiding intelligence rather than doggedly sticking to a plan and trying to assert ourselves. The feminine is not as direct in her approach as the masculine. Her seeds germinate in darkness. Her creativity methods are not always seen, yet are powerful. The oracle brings encouragement that even though it seems like your will is being thwarted, or you are not getting what you want right now, or you just wish you could have clarity and know your direction, you are still making progress. Things are coming together in the best way, and something is growing that is aligned with the divine plan you were born to fulfill. You are encouraged to restore your inner energies and move when you feel inspired, rather than thrusting forward in an attempt to make progress. The goddess knows what she's doing. Her actions will benefit you and all beings profoundly. Allow her to have your way. if you're feeling that, if you're feeling like you need to restore your inner energies, you may be interested in one of the other cards here. I'll let you figure out which one it was that may support you in that. Renourishing yourself before you move on with the next steps and the next forays. So now there's an invocation ritual. Place your hands at your lower belly. Sense the energies that stir and swirl into life when you place your loving, non-judging attention beneath your hands. Allow your awareness to move deeply beneath your hands as if you are moving into a vast, oceanic realm of feminine being within your body, no matter what your biology or gender may be. You can settle and meditate within this feminine presence. Perhaps that presence is gentle ocean waves rising and falling in a rhythmic lullaby, or a raging storm with flashes of lightning and shuddering thunder. Be with what is. Sense the grounding as your mental energies begin to descend into the belly and gather there, returning to the primordial and restorative ocean of consciousness deep within the sacral chakra. Say the following prayer. Jai Ma Kali, I drop into the realm of deep wisdom located in the belly. I feel for your guidance, for the innate pattern of intelligent, spiritual becoming that exists within my soul and knows how to manifest itself to fulfillment for the spiritual benefit of all beings. I open to your blessings. I let go of that which I have held on to more than I have trusted in you. Jai Ma Kali. Allow any residual tension or stress to melt away. Be in the quiet bliss of peaceful, authentic, inner divine communion. Place your hands in prayer. You have completed your ritual. So super sweet, pile 3. What a beautiful message, just honoring the super challenging work that you have been doing to dismantle, whether it's the patriarchy, the adoption, fairy tales, the gypsy myths, the romaphobia. You fill in the blank. You have been doing some serious work, and so the Kalika Tantrika is honoring that and allowing you some rest and relief in that, and to assist you with rewriting your story in a new, powerful, empowered way, in a loving way, in a way that's beneficial for all beings, not guilting or shaming anyone, right? So beautiful, pile 3. And so that is what I am seeing for you in this reading about how you may move forward, minding your business in the highest love and light, rewriting your story with everything you have learned on your healing path, with Mercury moving into Gemini and Pluto retrograde moving into Capricorn, whether you see this on the 11th of June or within the next couple of weeks or the next couple of years. This is a timeless reading, and you can take from it what resonates with you. So thank you so much for helping us breathe life into adoption spirit magic, pile 3. Heartily, we are grateful. Until next time, ciao for now. We love you all.